Hey guys! Welcome to iCreate. For today's video, I will be showing you kung paano i-set up and gamitin ang ating Brother GS2700 Portable Sewing Machine. I already uploaded a review for this one. You can check out the link below if you are interested. But before we proceed, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so we can continue creating videos just for you. So let's start. Our machine comes with a foot controller or foot pedal. Insert nyo lang yung foot controller plug sa right side ng inyong machine. Diyan nyo rin makikita yung power switch. And i-plug nyo lang yung other side sa wall outlet. So let's talk about bobbin or bobbin winding. So lahat ng sewing machine may upper and bottom thread siya, and yung bobbin ang nagko-hold ng bottom or lower thread. So for GS2700, we're using plastic bobbins. Make sure to use the correct type of bobbins para maiwasan yung pagkasira ng machine nyo and hindi maapektuhan yung stitches nyo. So to wind your bobbin, pull out your spool pin and ilagay nyo lang yung thread. Dapat yung end ng thread nyo laging papunta sa inyo or papunta sa harap. Then just pull it and i-hook nyo lang yung thread nyo sa thread guide. Then, iikot nyo lang from front to back ng inyong tension disc. Just pull the thread and get your bobbin. So, kung makikita nyo, may butas yung inyong bobbin. So, insert your thread from the inside, palabas, pataas, and pull your thread ng ilang inches. So, makikita nyo rin na sa top ng bobbin nyo may parang cut or indentation. Dapat mamatch nyo yan sa spring ng inyong bobbin winder. So, just push your bobbin down sa inyong bobbin winder and slide it to the right. Turn on your machine and while still holding the end of your thread, press your foot pedal lightly para ma-wind lang ng onte, then stop, and itrim nyo lang yung excess thread. We can now wind again by pressing the foot pedal fully without holding the excess thread. Once the bobbin is almost full, it will start to turn slowly. So stop the machine, slide your bobbin winder to the left, and cut the thread. And just remove your bobbin. So in setting our lower thread, make sure na naka-off yung machine nyo to avoid accidents. And may illustrations naman on how to thread our machine, pero I'll show you a step-by-step guide para mas maintindihan natin. So raise your needle in the highest position by turning your handle toward you. So malalaman nyo pag nasa tamang position ng needle nyo, pag nakatapat na yung mark sa center ng inyong machine. Raise your pressure foot lever and slide nyo lang pababa yung bobbin case to open. Put your bobbin with the thread placed on the left side. Then pull the end of your thread papunta sa thread cutter. Make sure na magpapatch sa slit, very important para hindi maapektuhan yung stitch nyo. Then hold your bobbin in place using your right hand and cut the excess thread. Then put back your bobbin case. In setting our upper thread, make sure that your machine is off and your needle and pressure foot are raised. So, pull your thread from your spool pin and i-hook nyo lang sa thread guide. And makikita nyo may number dyan, susundin lang natin. Pababa sa number 2 and from the left to right, number 3, paakyat sa number 4. Make sure nasa right yung inyong thread and feed it to the metal take-up lever. Pababa sa number 5. Then, i-hook lang natin yung ating thread sa needle holder thread guide. So here's my favorite feature, automatic needle threader. So just lower your presser foot. And ito yung lever ng inyong needle threader. Ibaba nyo lang yan. And forward and backward yan. So ibaba nyo lang and hook your thread sa inyong thread guide. Then turn your lever palikod. So yung hook ay magpapass sa eye ng inyong needle. Pass your thread sa hook Then turn the lever papunta sa inyo so the hook will pull the thread through the needle. Then just fix it using your finger. Then ilagay nyo lang sa likod ng pressure foot yung thread. Usually, pinupull out talaga yung lower thread from the bobbin case, pero sa case natin na meron tayong quick set bobbin, hindi na siya necessary. Pero ako personally, ginagawa ko pa rin siya just to prevent yung nesting or yung pagkabukol sa starting point ng inyong stitch. So to do that, remove nyo muna yung pressure foot. Then using your left hand, hawakan nyo lang yung upper thread nyo. And turn your hand wheel toward you para bumaba yung needle and makuha nyo yung lower thread. Then pull your upper thread using your left hand. And pull the lower thread completely ng ilang inches. Then ibalik lang natin ulit yung pressure foot. Then lagay nyo lang sa likod yung thread. So let's talk about sewing. You can set your stitch by turning this knob. And pwede nyo ring piliin yung special stitches na printed in color blue by turning your stitch length dial sa SS. So pag nasa SS na yung setting nyo, pwede nyo i-select yung inner part ng knob nyo na printed in color blue. So after setting your stitch, turn on your machine and lift your needle and your pressure foot. Always pass your thread at the back of your pressure foot and ilagay nyo lang yung fabric. I usually start a few millimeters from the edge of the fabric para lang hindi makain yung fabric. And while holding both the thread and fabric, ibaba nyo lang yung needle and your pressure foot, then press your foot pedal. Tansyahin nyo lang kung gaano nyo kabilis or kabagal kagusto yung speed ng stitch ninyo. To finish sewing, just stop pressing the foot pedal, raise the needle and your pressure foot, then cut the thread using the thread cutter on the left side of your machine. So one of the most important thing in sewing is reverse sewing or backstitching. So we do this para ma-lock and ma-secure yung stitches natin and hindi siya matastas. I also do this para ma-reinforce yung mga areas na sa tingin ko kailangan na mas matibay na stitches. So lower your needle and your pressure foot. Press your foot pedal lightly. Then after few stitches, stop the machine and press the reverse lever and hold it. And start nyo ulit yung machine until makabalik kayo sa starting point ng inyong stitch. Release the lever para maging normal yung stitch nyo, then continue sewing. And reverse stitch again at the end of your stitches. So I'll just show you an example ng binackstitch natin na stitch and hindi natin binackstitch. So pag hinatak natin itong binackstitch natin, hindi siya natatastas. Pero itong second layer na hindi natin binackstitch, kung hatakin natin siya, makikita nyo na matatastas siya. Though hindi entirely, pero makikita mo na hindi secured yung stitch. So let's talk about thread tension. So bawat machine ay iba-iba and ang thread tension nyo ay laging nakadepende sa gamit yung fabric and thread. So pwede natin i-adjust yung tension natin using the first dial. The higher the number, mas tight. The lower the number, mas loose. So always try first yung fabric na gagamitin nyo and adjust nyo lang yung upper thread tension hanggang makuha nyo yung tamang tension. So malalaman natin na tama yung tension natin pag balance na yung ating upper and lower thread. So paano nga ba malalaman kung paano i-adjust yung ating thread tension ng tama? Basically, kailangan mo munang malaman kung tight or loose yung stitch mo. So here's an example. So nagtahi ako ng violet thread sa surface ng aking fabric and pink thread naman sa wrong side. So focus muna tayo sa first stitch. So makikita mo agad na wrinkled na yung fabric, it means tight yung tension natin. And isang ding indication ay pag visible yung lower thread nyo sa surface ng fabric. So in our case, kita yung pink thread. So di lang siya kita sa camera pero visible siya. And pag in-stretch nyo din, mafe-feel nyo na tight talaga siya. So, need nating babaan yung tension. Sa second stitch naman natin, hindi na visible yung pink sa surface ng ating fabric, pero nakikita naman yung violet sa wrong side ng fabric. So, ibig sabihin, loose yung ating tension. So, kailangan natin siyang taasan. So, ang downside ng loose yung stitch nyo ay hindi siya secured and pangit tingnan. So, dapat talaga balanced yung upper and lower thread. So, for the stitch width, we adjust it using the second dial. So, we use this as special stitches like zigzag stitch or any other pattern stitches. But we can also use this to adjust our needle position pag nasa straight stitch yung setting natin. So, the higher the number, the wider, and the lower the number, mas narrow yung stitch width natin. So, after adjusting your stitch width, to make sure na hindi tatama yung needle sa presser foot, just turn your hand wheel toward you. So, here's a sample of different stitch width setting. Here's number 5, number 3, and number 1. So, pag ina-adjust ko yung aking stitch width, binababaan ko yung aking thread tension and stitch length. So, speaking of stitch length, you can adjust it using the third dial. So, pwede natin i-adjust yung stitch length natin as necessary. So, the higher the number, the longer, and the lower the number, the shorter. So, here are the differences. So, ito yung number 4, 2.5, and number 1. So, ina-adjust to for several reasons. So, mas mahaba na stitch, mas mabilis magtahi, mas mabilis tastasin, and okay siya for gathering, and mas maganda for top stitching. Pag mas ikli naman yung stitch nyo, mas matibay yung stitches, though minsan nakakasira siya ng fabric. Pero mas okay ang shorter stitch sa curves. Pero syempre, mas mahirap siyang tastasin. So, in replacing your presser foot, your machine comes with different snap-on presser foot. So, kung wala pa kayong ganitong machine, you can watch my Brother GS2700 review para makita niyo yung free accessories. So, dahil nga snap-on na yung presser foot niya, napakadali na niyang palitan. So, make sure your machine is turned off and your needle and presser foot is raised. Then, press the black button sa likod ng inyong presser foot holder to release your presser foot. Then, place your other presser foot. Itapat nyo lang yung metal pin sa inyong presser foot holder. Then, lower your presser foot lever para ma-attach sila together. Then, sa pag-replace naman ng needle, again, make sure your machine is turned off and your needle is raised in the highest position. So, remove the presser foot and lower your presser foot lever. Hold your needle using your left hand and using your right hand, loosen nyo lang yung screw to remove the needle. So, needle natin meron siyang round and flat side. So, yung flat side dapat lagi siyang nakaharap sa likod. So, i-insert nyo lang and make sure tatama yung needle nyo sa ating needle stopper. Yun yung bilog sa may taas. So, dapat tatama siya dyan. So, just hold your needle and tighten your screw using your right hand. Make sure na hindi siya loose or hindi naman siya masyadong masikip. Then, ipalik nyo lang yung inyong presser foot. And speaking of needles, I use organ needles sa aking GS2700. Ito yung suggested talaga ng supplier mismo. So you can screenshot this chart para alam nyo yung sizes na gagamitin nyo for your project. It's very important to use the right needle para di masira yung fabric nyo, maputol yung needle, or mawala sa timing ng machine. And ultimately, para best result yung makuha nyo. So if you're still here, let's talk a bit about changing our needle. So, gaano ba dapat katagal bago palitan yung needle? So, alam nyo ba na yung motor ng machine nyo nag-work siya twice pag dull yung needle nyo? So, it means your machine will wear out twice as fast pag maparol yung needle nyo. So, they say you need to change your needle every project, pero kung katulad ko kayo na nasasayangan, based on my experience, you can consider these things before kayo magpalit ng needle. So, number 1, pag nag-i-skip na yung stitches nyo. Number 2, pag pangit na yung tahi niya. And lastly, pag nafe-feel nyo na nahihirapan na yung needle nyo mag-pierce sa fabric nyo, especially pag ginagamit nyo yung hand wheel. Pero actually, once nagamin nyo na yung machine nyo, maririnig nyo na yan and alam nyo na kung may kailangan ng palitan dyan. So that's it! I hope you find this video helpful. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. Have a productive day. Bye!